Boom! What is up, Waves Capital? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to talk to you guys about how I imagine the final week of June playing out for the markets. And of course, we'll also be taking a look at a few individual charts and stocks that I'm personally keeping an eye on as we head into the new trading week. Okay, so let's quickly go over each of the topics we'll be discussing before diving into each one individually. In front of us, as always, is TradingView, where we will kick off the video, at least on the charts, by taking a look at the king and taking a look at Bitcoin, okay, and or the king. So take a look at Bitcoin. The reason for this being Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets act as what I deem to be the most accurate form of equity futures markets. So if Bitcoin's looking good going into the week, it's pretty likely that the equity markets or the stock market will see some green as we open up the new trading week. But if they're looking down, if they're looking red, like they are right now, it's pretty likely that the equity markets will follow suit. Okay, so we'll kick off the video on the charts once again with Bitcoin, with BTC, and I will do my best to include all of the stocks, all of the ticker symbols we look at in the title, so you guys know what to expect, of course. But after Bitcoin, maybe we'll hop into a few crypto stocks, Coinbase, RIOT, take a look at a few recent winners, massive winners within the portfolio over the past few weeks, Roblox and Unity. We can take a look at SoFi, we can take a look at maybe Tesla. I do want to take a look at ARK for sure because that sums up growth stocks well. And I don't know if we'll take a look at gold and silver, but just know that gold and silver are pretty appealing to me right now for a few reasons. I will be making a video on that in the next couple of days, so stay tuned. But today we will be focusing on growth stocks primarily. Okay, so that is the charts, you guys. Of course, we will get into those a little later in the video because we have to establish our fundamental beliefs first prior to jumping into the technicals. There is a lot of obviously geopolitical there's an economic hurricane, a lot of geopolitical conflicts still going on. So we do have to cover fundamentals because those are very important right now. Technicals are definitely important because there's so much quantitative funds trading these markets right now and creating so much of this volume. But regardless, we will cover fundamentals first. Okay, I gotta let you guys know what I'm thinking from a base macro perspective. So next is TradingView. I do have this article that I want to cover as we dive into Coinbase, just because this is a very important news when it comes to Coinbase, and this will be the only direct piece of news that we'll be covering today. So no fee trading has arrived for crypto. Here's what that may mean for revenue at these companies. Okay, so we'll cover this for Coinbase again after Bitcoin. Maybe take a look at RIOT and then cover Coinbase in this article. But yeah, just want to let you guys know what's going on with Coinbase. Okay. Next to this, just gotta let you guys know, Independence Day. Just keep this on your guys' radar. It's always good to know when 3-day weekends are coming. We just came out of a 4-day compressed week. Great week that is in the markets. And we do have another one coming up this weekend. So this upcoming weekend, of course, 4th of July, Independence Day, we do have Monday off. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the markets, of course, will be closed. So just keep that in mind as well. Before we get into the charts, pretty short and sweet today, you guys. But I do want to read the macro newsletter that I sent out, that I wrote and sent out on Friday to all of the newsletter subscribers, okay? Pretty much go over just all of my thoughts on the macro right now, why I'm very skeptical on the rally that we saw in the markets last week and why I'm hesitant on whether or not they can continue. So let's read over this bad boy and then we'll just jump straight into the charts. Then I can expand on any macro thoughts from here. Okay. So actually before that, I do want to let you guys know, I don't know if you saw it short, this thing is not performing very well so far, but that's all right. I got to dip the toes in the water, I guess. First short I've ever posted, but we just donated. Waves Capital has just donated $5,000.01 to Ryan Trahan and the Feeding America Foundation for the fundraiser they've been doing. I've really been enjoying this series, and I'm excited to take part, and I'm excited for all of you guys to take part as well, because as you guys know, the Waves fam, this is not just a me thing, this is a we thing. So yeah, I put it in the note. Hopefully he reads it in the shout out tomorrow. Just stay tuned for that. And if you guys have been watching the series, hopefully you're stoked as I am. So feels good to give you guys. Again, as always, making money is awesome. We love making money around here, but giving it is it really feels better, especially once you have enough to be self-sustained. So making money is great. We're always trying to make money. Make as much money as you possibly can so you can give as much as you possibly can as well. Okay, that's the beauty of financial literacy and making money. Okay, so that said, you guys just keep an eye out for that. Just wanted to give that a little shout out. Let us get into reading. So this is in the context of last week, which every day was green, and I mean, the bulls are feeling good, so investors are feeling optimistic, and the markets are heading into the weekend, or closed out last week on a high note. There are a few fundamental factors that are encouraging this. The price of oil has declined over the past few days, which could ultimately mean lower gas prices. This is giving investors a reason to believe that inflation could finally start cooling down, which is possible, but it definitely won't be an overnight fix. Systemic issues take time to fix, and at this point, inflation is inarguably systemic. So if you guys saw on Friday, cruise lines like Carnival are absolutely crushing it following reports of high bookings. I live in Hawaii, so I think I have a pretty good anecdotal gauge of how much the average American is traveling. And I can attest to the fact that tourism is booming right now. These guys are freaking tourists, man. They're taking all the resis at my favorite restaurants. I can't even go eat at my usual spots. So, whatever. It's good for the local economy. That's how I think about it. But it is too hot in my opinion, not only from an annoying tourist perspective, but also from a financial perspective. And again, you guys, this is getting into why I'm very skeptical, especially as we go into earnings, big earnings over the coming weeks, of why I'm worried and very, very skeptical and hesitant on whether this short-term upside can persist in mega cap stocks, okay, like in the S&P, in the NASDAQ. So I don't doubt the travel-focused stocks deserve some upside, but this worries me when it comes to other parts of the economy and the market. People have been itching to travel, and that's great, but the reality is the dollars they're booking that travel with are still becoming increasingly scarce. It's completely up to the individual as to how they spend their money, but if they're choosing to drop a bag on travel, then that's capital that won't be deployed into other realms of the economy. I think this short-term relief is warranted, but I'm still feeling very skeptical on prolonged upside as we progress through earnings season over the following weeks. Psychologically, I think that another major contributor to the overall optimism is headlines like the one attached below. So this just came out on Friday as well. JP Morgan mid-year outlook shocker sees S&P 500 a round trip to new record. If you recall, we covered this article when it was initially published a few weeks back. It features one of JP Morgan's most reputable analysts, Marko Kolanovic, and I wanted to feature the piece to reinforce my bullish sentiment on growth stocks. I do still agree with the sentiment around oversold growth stocks, but I definitely don't agree with the fact that the S&P 500 will be able to reclaim its previous all-time highs. I actually don't think we'll even come close. As far as overall mean reversion is concerned, the mega caps still have a way down to go. Have a ways to go, which is down, of course. The technicals could justify the short-term upside, but given the dismal reality of the macro backdrop, it's difficult to believe that it will be sustained. Okay? So, again, you guys, growth stocks, like the ones we've been picking, like Roblox, like Unity, that have been actually absolutely crushing it. Again, we'll get to those in a little bit. Roblox, Unity, looking amazing. Seeing, crazy price action over the past, 4 or 5 trading sessions, which is obviously you love to see, not only for common shares, but the calls have been popping off, which you love. And again, you guys, this is a stock picker's market. You need to pick the right stocks. You need to pick the winning horses in order to win. And of course, you need to do the proper due diligence to do so. Because again, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. It has been easy. This market is getting increasingly more difficult to navigate, and that's why it takes more time and more effort to do so than ever, okay? But that said, if you guys want to know how I'm navigating it, I'll do all the work and let you guys know what I find. Check out my complete portfolio and daily newsletter, the Waves Capital portfolio, which of course is every single position in my personal portfolio, all of my call options, all of my put options, all of my stock positions, crypto positions even, when I'm buying the dips, when I'm selling the rips, every action I take, which is updated every trading day during market hours. And then I send out multiple newsletters explaining my thoughts. First newsletter, trade alert. Second newsletter, macro newsletter. And then third is price targets, where I include charts and real-time price targets on some of our favorite plays. Okay, so that is going to be the first link in the description box down below. $50 a month or $40 for every 3 months. It's completely up to you, but I'll let you be the judge of whether it's for you or not. Give the subscription a shot though. And hey, if you don't like it, just unsubscribe. It's easy as that. So once again, first link down below. Appreciate it if you check that out, but if not, no worries at all. I appreciate you watching this right here, right now. Let's dive into some charts. Okay, so Bitcoin, as of right now, not looking too hot, down almost 2% as of the past 24 hours, okay? And when you look at this, just zooming out on Bitcoin, you guys, what we're seeing right now is looks very similar to this right here, right? A big sell-off followed by some sideways price action. And if you've been around for a while, you would have definitely heard me say this. But considering I've played so many cyclical markets, so many, I should say, cyclical hype cycles, right? Similar to Bitcoin, like growth stocks, etc. There's very similar patterns that that hold consistency throughout all of these charts, okay, and all of these trends, all of these cycles. And one of them is the fact that when you see a big sell-off like this, okay, when you zoom in, when you see these parabolic sell-offs, just like Bitcoin, let's get a price range here. So boom, boom, peak to trough, 30%. Let's get another price range. Boom, boom, peak to trough. This one was 43%. When you see moves like this, a lot of times you see that dead cat bounce, that little relief rally, followed by sideways price action, followed by sideways price action, I should say, along with a plateau and or decline in volume, followed by another move in that initial direction. Okay, so we saw that here. Big move down, long sideways period, a test of overall resistance, which is the cyan line right here, and then followed by another move down of equal or greater magnitude. Okay, so do I think Bitcoin will fall further down in the short term? I actually don't. I think it's obviously possible if the equity markets start to really sell off again. I think it's definitely possible. But I think that Bitcoin in the shorter term, or short to medium term, I should say, will actually slowly but surely make its way up to test this overall line of resistance, okay? So cyan line, touch point, multiple touch points here. I do think Bitcoin will come up to test this trend, this very, very prominent trend line on the current downtrend, and ultimately will come up to test this line of resistance. Now, do I think it's back to the races? Do I think Bitcoin's hitting similar to the S&P all-time highs anytime this year? No, because the macro backdrop is completely different. There's less money than there was just 6 months ago, okay? There's less money circulating. Things are more expensive. Values got decimated, okay? And with those valuations getting decimated, obviously the cash in those assets got decimated as well, okay? It's not cash anymore. It is now, I mean, it's smithereens at this point, okay? So the macro backdrop does not support a new all-time high for Bitcoin at all. Do I think it will see a new all-time high at some point in the future? Absolutely. Do I think it'll come anytime soon, anytime in the next year? Absolutely not, for all the reasons we've been talking about. But in the short term, I do think we can see some relief. And I don't think more downside is very, I don't think another 50% drop from here is very likely either. I will say that. But I do think that we will trade sideways in this range for a while. I think price action will be very boring for Bitcoin. And yeah, as always, though, time will tell. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Let's take a look at RIOT blockchain and Coinbase and then move into that article. And then we'll take a look at Unity and Roblox, then maybe close it out with ARK, okay? So where is RIOT? So RIOT blockchain. RIOT is so ridiculously oversold, and I still do believe that RIOT blockchain at $5.19, sheesh, is an absolute bargain. But I will say that RIOT, man, and of course RIOT, you guys, is so subjective to what Bitcoin does and what the markets do. But I just think that RIOT needs to test, what the heck? I do think that RIOT needs to test this overall line of resistance. We did just come up this past week to test the previous line of short-term support as new resistance, good old TA 101. But this orange line right here is a very significant line of overall resistance dating back to RIOT's high back in November. Okay, so touch point here, creating the overall line of longer-term resistance. I think this needs to be tested at some point. Hey, maybe we just go sideways. Maybe it takes till mid-July to test this, which would be at the exact level we're at now at about like 515, 520. But again, you guys, in the case that RIOT can see a nice pop, say we see it July 5th, that would take us up to about $7 or 36% from current levels. But hey, again, if the markets lag, Bitcoin not looking hot right now. If the markets do lag over the course of this week, heading into early July, then we probably go sideways. But I will say that I do think the far majority of downside for RIOT is out of the way. I don't think we're going to see another 10% move down on a day, regardless of what happens to Bitcoin. I think right now, RIOT is just going to be crawling sideways for a long time until the bull market's back. But from a macro perspective, I still believe RIOT is ridiculously undervalued. Let's take a look at Coinbase before you do go over this. So no more trading fees. This is very Very bad news for Coinbase from a revenue perspective for obvious reasons. So, zero fee trading has come to the world of Bitcoin, raising questions over how fee compression may affect revenues for crypto trading platforms. Last week, the U.S. arm of the crypto exchange Binance, which had some of the lowest trading fees around, dropped fees for spot Bitcoin trading. Shares of Coinbase, one of its main competitors, and known for its expensive fee structure, fell nearly 10% on the news. Quote, "We hope our pricing model sees broader industry adoption over times that would have a positive impact on the ecosystem and market participants overall," spokesperson for Binance US told CNBC. "We are happy to lead the race to zero fees everywhere. Some see no fees as inevitable. Robinhood changed the brokerage world when it began offering fee-free trades, and now it's becoming more common for investors to include crypto in their portfolios, or at least to see crypto trading offered in the same experience. The big problem for exchanges like Coinbase is figuring out how to make up that revenue and whether those alternatives are enough." Quote, "Coinbase has been diversifying away from trading, but the majority of the revenue still comes from trading," said Oppenheimer equity analyst Owen Lau. "So right now, that's not enough. Coinbase needs to do more and faster in this environment to diversify away from trading." So, if you're educated on the space, and I assume most of you are, it's been pretty obvious for a while. Again, Robinhood really paved their way in the equity markets. It's been pretty obvious since we saw these major exchanges, and these major exchanges, on top of just trading, charging pretty absurdly high fees to just buy and sell Bitcoin, Ether, whatever crypto it is you're buying or selling. It's only been a matter of time before the competition comes and before there is the race to no trading fees, okay? Which is now what's happening. And considering the far majority of these exchanges, the far majority of the revenue of these exchanges are based around those trading fees, this, from a revenue generation perspective, is very, very, very bad, okay? Coinbase is going to have almost, this is going to be a real struggle for Coinbase to generate revenue when you can't charge fees for trading, okay? And they still will definitely be slipping in some fees, maybe some micro fees here and there, and definitely be charging fees for larger transaction sizes, I'm going to assume. But the reality is this is very bad news from a fundamental perspective, and obviously this is bad news from a stock perspective as well. So that said, Coinbase is still stupidly oversold, where Coinbase, peak to trough, Coinbase saw pretty much a 90% correction, which is staggering from the high it saw, again, you guys, just like 6 months ago, which is insane, 6-7 months ago. So Coinbase sitting at a valuation of $13 billion, for this market, I would say right now, at this point in time, is fairly priced. But if Coinbase is able to adapt, if they can evolve, which I trust they will, again, you always bet on the jockeys, not just the horses. Brian Armstrong, the team at Coinbase, I do believe is competent to execute and build what will be one of the greatest American crypto companies it is today. I believe that will hold true throughout the future. And it might just take some time. So this is definitely something that they have to overcome. In terms of where I think Coinbase could go, almost similar to RIOT. Upside, again, given the looks of Bitcoin and the fact that I'm bearish on the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, it's not looking too good, you guys. I do think Coinbase will be trading kind of in this range, honestly, between 60 and like $70 for quite a while. But hey, I do think we can ultimately, Coinbase, this line of resistance right here, you can't do that over this overall line of resistance right here. I don't know why that other touch point was drawn, but I do think it's possible at some point for Coinbase to test a similar line of resistance to RIOT. Touch point here, very obvious macro trend line. In the case that Coinbase can test this, hey, maybe it takes till August. Maybe we just go up and down till August. I do think this will be tested at some point, but hey, if Coinbase can come up, I don't even know what happened in that trend line right there. But if Coinbase can come up to test this, let's just say by mid-July, July 15th, that'll take Coinbase up to $88 and or a price range. Where were we? Mid-July right there. So, or a price appreciation of like 44%. Do I think that's likely? Not really, especially following this news. But do I think we can go much lower, similar to RIOT? I don't think like staggering downside is likely for Coinbase because it's already 90% off its all-time highs. And again, you guys, valuations are really fair value, the definition of fair value is being completely redefined in the minds of investors and even in like the venture markets as well. So it's difficult to say what happens, but I will say that I do think the majority of downside is over. Again, do I think staggering upside is in the cards? Do I think we're back to the races anytime soon? I don't, for plays like Coinbase or Riot blockchain, honestly, given the nature of the crypto markets right now. But I do think that sideways price action is pretty likely. So at least a lot of the bloodshed is behind us. Okay, at least that's my opinion. Okay, let's take a look, on the other hand, at some winners. Roblox and Unity have been two of the largest positions in the portfolio for a long time now, and these stocks are just freaking on fire, man. Like, look at these daily candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Past 5 sessions, Roblox has seen upside from the bottom to the top. Roblox appreciating 50% value. That's crazy impressive for this. And if you guys watched a video, it's called Unity and Roblox are on fire, that I posted a few weeks back, I explained why I'm bullish on these, and those same reasons still apply now. Okay, so Roblox, kids are on summer break. Of course, times are hard. Parents aren't going to be as willing to spend money on whatever Robux, whatever it is that is in the Roblox game. I don't play it, but I do understand the gaming world. I am somewhat embedded in the gaming world, just from a business perspective, and I understand the fact that kids are on summer. Kids are not going to not game, and if they're in the game, they're going to be swiping mom and dad's credit cards to buy some Robux, I believe they're called. Okay, so Roblox, I do think they're gonna have a good summer. I think microtransaction volume is gonna do very well. Therefore, good for Roblox's bottom line, good for their revenue, and I do think they will impress on the next earnings. That said, short term, because Roblox has done so well, I do think we will likely see a short-term correction, where to probably test this previous line of resistance as new support. Again, previous resistance right there. New support would be around like $32.50. Come down, maybe go up again. But Roblox, it's difficult not to be a bull on this stock still, even following these past 5 days of 50. I mean, you average that's 10% per session, right? 50% up, 10% per session. I mean, beautiful volume. We're seeing volume pick up. We're seeing those consecutive green candles. And I do think it's possible for Roblox to come up to like $40 to $45, maybe trade in that range, given just the nature of how bullish the stock is looking right now. But again, short term, maybe see a pullback. Longer term, I still think this is a very, very promising stock, which has also, again, from peak to trough, seen over an 80% correction. So Roblox looking good. Let's take a look at Unity and then close it out with ARK on the charts. We won't take a look at Tesla. You guys know I'm bearish on Tesla. I'll save the downside targets for Tesla for the newsletter group. But right now, Unity testing a very, very significant line of resistance. And this has perfectly played out, you guys. If you've been trading Unity with me, this one played out to a freaking T. Like, this is beautiful what has happened here, what has unfolded. Like, exactly. It played out almost exactly to what we were thinking. So coincided, pretty much tested previous short-term support as new resistance, along with long-term resistance as they coincided. Probably the most perfect play. I mean, probably the best technical play, the most validating to our original technical thesis, maybe ever, that I can recall, definitely in recent memory for sure. So again, if you got on this with me, congrats to you. Volume looking very, very solid. I mean, volume, pretty much the most volume Unity's ever seen. But do I think, similar to Roblox, that this can persist? I personally don't think so. I do think we'll see some short-term downside. But again, Unity, very, very, I mean, Unity from peak to trough has seen a staggering correction. So, boom, peak to trough, we'll just call it right there. 86% correction, currently sitting at a market cap of $13.5 billion, which is the same size as Coinbase, which is pretty crazy to think about. But still, Unity, I do think from a longer term perspective, they generate like very, very impressive revenue. Just take a look. Where's my fat head? So Unity, man, let's move my fat head quick. So Unity, from from a quarterly perspective, generating like $315 to $320 million in revenue and cash flow over the past couple of quarters, which is looking good, man. Again, valuations are up in the air at the moment, so proper value is difficult to determine at this point in time. But from a long-term perspective, Unity working on kind of just the next version of video gaming and just rendering across the board. Metaverse stuff, but very tangible, applicable metaverse stuff. I think Unity is a great play, and Unity has a very bright future ahead of it. Okay, so let's close it out with ARK Innovation. ARK did actually break out of a very, very significant line of resistance, which is why it has been seeing a little bit of upside. So boom, touch point here back in November. Next few touch points here, next touch point here, very, very significant line of resistance. Once broken through, it's pretty obvious that we were going to see some upside. But how much more upside is in the cards? I don't think much. ARK is in this kind of, again, just this sideways trading range. And I do think that we can come up a little bit more, maybe to 47 bucks, which would be, well, like another 5% or so. But I do think that this will come into play in the case that we don't see downside in the short term. Again, Bitcoin as of right now is down almost 2.5%. So ARK over the course of this week, maybe see some downside, considering it's like Roblox, like Unity, which are large parts of the ARK Innovation ETF, have seen upside. Short-term downside, again, that's a test of previous resistance. Now will become new support. I wouldn't be surprised at all if ARK comes back down here to test previous long-term resistance as new support, this yellow line, around 40 bucks over the coming sessions, which, again, will probably unfold to plays like Tesla, ARK, Unity, or Tesla, Unity, Roblox. But, again, you guys, the macro is difficult. I do have faith that growth stocks, the majority of the downside for growth stocks for these promising small caps is behind us. But I am hesitant because the SPY and the NASDAQ obviously have so much impact on these growth stocks. If the SPY and NASDAQ fall, it's pretty unlikely, at least over the short term. This may diverge at some point, that growth stocks fall as well. But I do think that more downside is ahead for the S&P 500. I think that more downside is ahead for mega caps overall. Sorry, you guys have been talking a lot. We'll call it a video there. But again, you guys, just stay on your toes, stay safe, stay hedged. If you want to know how we're trading, again, join Waves Capital for real. 15 bucks a month, 40 bucks for every 3 months downstairs. And I'll also catch you downstairs in the comments. Okay, so have a great week, you guys. If you're part of the newsletter group, I'll see you in the morning. And until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.